in the headline, National Rescue Movement approaches a federal high court seeking disqualification of Peter Obi over case of dual citizenship. 4 persons abducted by bandits in Katsina rescued. CBN Governor Godwin Emefiele returns as DSS denies invading Apex Bank headquarters. And on the international scene, Equatorial Guinea dissident Obama Mefuman dies in prison. Hello and welcome to News Update on Trust TV. I am Sumaya Abubakar. And now the news in full. The presidential candidate of the Labour Party in the 2023 general election, Peter Obi, is facing a fresh disqualification suit at a federal high court in Abuja over his alleged possession of citizenship of 2 countries. Obi was dragged before the court by another political party, the National Rescue Movement, which, among others, alleged that the presidential candidate is no longer fit, proper and disqualified for the highest office in Nigeria on account of his dual citizenship. The plaintiff in the fresh suit against Obi is praying the court for an order to disqualify him from the presidential race on the ground of breach of the 1999 Constitution. In the suit, the Labour Party candidate was accused of acquiring citizenship of Dallas in Texas, United States of America, in breach of Section 1 and 137 of Nigeria's Constitution. The party, through its counsel, Mohammed Danjuma, asked for an order of perpetual injunction restraining the Independent National Electoral Commission from recognizing, dealing, or affording Peter Obi any right or privilege to stand for the presidential election. When the matter came up on Monday, Justice Inyang Edem Eku lambasted the plaintiff for the inability to serve the originating summons on the defendants. Now, Justice Eku thereafter fixed February 10 for mention of the suit and threatened to strike out the case should the plaintiff fail to serve the court process on Peter Obi before the adjourned date. The presidential candidate of the Labour Party, Peter Obi, says that he will declare war on the power sector if elected president in the forthcoming February election. Obi said this on Monday while speaking at the Chatham House in the United Kingdom. While answering questions on how he intends to revive Nigeria to make the country attractive and inviting to foreign investors, the Labour Party candidate said putting regulations in place that will make investment conducive will go a long way to resolve the challenge. Hailing the integrity of his running mate, Deti Baba Ahmed, Obi noted that Deti has a record as the only National Assembly member who refused to buy property of the government when it was offered to every National Assembly member. The presidential candidate of the Labour Party assured that he will discuss with agitators in the country in order to unite the nation and forge a common goal.
Biafra being ended 53 years ago. It's all over the place in this space. I condemn all agitators, but in condemning them, you have to look at what brought about these agitations all over the place. It's not only IPOB. We have Yoruba Nation movement. We have all sorts. When you have created this level of massive poverty, where 63% of your population is poor, you're going to create all sorts of problems. I was speaking to a British minister this morning. I said we have about 40% unemployment. And we have about 60% youth unemployment. Young people in their productive age doing nothing. If you have 15% unemployment in Britain today, you're going to have massive, remember, agitation. Nobody will be able to leave his house. So what you're seeing is a cumulative effect of leadership failure over the years, which will be solved by good governance. When people start seeing justice, fairness, and inclusive government and doing the right thing, all those things will start reversing itself. And that is what me and that is offering. I will talk and discuss with all agitators.
Police in Katsina say 4 persons abducted by bandits have been rescued. The police said operatives carried out a raid at criminal hideouts in Hunguma and Gozaki villages and succeeded in rescuing the kidnapped victims. A statement signed by police spokesman Superintendent of Police Gambo Isa gave the names of the rescued victims as Saidu Ilia and Nasarawan Dankali village, Yusuf Umar and Abdullahi Bello from Bauchi State. The other victims, Abdullahi Bello, the statement said, sustained a gunshot wound and was rushed to the hospital for medical attention. Isa said many of the terrorists were either killed or fatally injured during the rescue operation, adding that a team of policemen is still combing the area with a view of arresting the wounded terrorists or recovering their dead bodies. Similarly, the police, in a joint operation with the NSCDC and Vigilante Group, raided bandits' hideout at Tamarke village in Bakori local government area, where they rescued one Abdusalam Maiwashi from Mahuta ward of Kafur local government area, kidnapped in December last year. The governor of Central Bank of Nigeria, Godwin Emefiele, has vowed to keep performing the tax President Muhammadu Buhari directs him to the Apex Bank governor. He also said that this is in a statement which the bank issued on his behalf on Monday evening. In the statement entitled CBN Governor Emefiele resumes duty after annual leave and signed by the Director, Corporate Communications, CBN, Osita Nwanisobi, the governor said he is back with renewed vigor. The statement said Emefiele remains committed to performing the task before him in line with his oath of office and the policy direction of President Muhammadu Buhari. Meanwhile, reports had emerged earlier in the day that the DSS invaded the CBN and barred staffs from accessing the governor's office. But in swift response, the Directorate of State Services, DSS, denied media reports that its operatives invaded the headquarters of the Apex Bank and arrested the governor. The DSS, in a statement by its public relations officer, Peter Afunaya, described the reports as fake and misleading. Female candidates vying for different positions under different political parties in the North have been trained on issues relating election matters and the strategy they can adopt to perform better at the polls. The female candidates were trained in Jos, the Plateau State capital, at a 2-day capacity building training. The reports.
Resource person said the training has better equipped the candidates and boosted their morale ahead of the elections, adding that they have learned what they hitherto did not know about election processes and its attendance matters.
Today we are organizing a 2-day mentoring and coaching session with female candidates who are aspiring the 2023 general election. So the training is to ensure that there is an increase in the representation of women in both the legislative and executive positions across Nigeria.
What we are telling them is, one, they need to be confident and to be conversant with the legal framework, and also to mobilize their supporters to participate in the process. How the accreditation will be done, the various mode of accrediting them, and the need for them to deploy their polling agents so that they can also help them to oversight the activities of INEC officials at the polling units.
The female candidates expressed their readiness to change the political narrative in the country by contributing meaningfully to the development of the country if given the opportunity to serve.
It all starts with encouraging yourself. You know, as a woman, as a female gender, when you come out, people look at you. Gone are the days they feel a woman starts and ends in the kitchen. It's about children. It's about no. I think with the level of exposure and enlightenment we have,
It has impacted so much on me, and some of the subjects or topics are like a refresher. When you look at my background, you check my background, you know that some of the topics I had them
I've been on the gender policy of the Nigerian Labour Congress, and that issues that has to do with gender. The campaign has been very interesting. It's my first time running for office. I must really thank my party. They've been very supportive on the platform of the African Democratic Congress. So it was a very wonderful experience running as a female candidate. They've been very supportive. The campaign, of course, has been quite interesting. Doing a lot of fundraising from friends, even sitting down to really crystallize and put my thoughts together on what is it that I really want to represent my friends, my people, my state, and also how can I be effective as a legislator when I do get to the House of Representatives.
The candidates also lamented the absence of good governance in the region, saying that they are out to address governance deficits in the respective constituencies. They also stressed that funding and other cultural belief systems have continued to portray women in politics in bad light, adding that they have come to change such negative stereotyping.
Women in Anambra State have urged to do more. They have been urged to do more in the area of training for their male children to ensure that crime rate in the state is drastically reduced. This was the submission of the police at an event in Akwa, the Anambra State capital, organized for women from different tribes. Addressing the women, the Commissioner of Police Anambra State, Echeng, represented by his Public Relations Officer, Ikenga Tochukwu, urged women to educate their children on the need to stay away from crime. The women, in their response, said crime fighting is a collective task for all stakeholders. Here is that report.
You as a mother, when you are busy training your female child on how to be a good wife, on how to be a good mother, you should also remember to train your male child. If we put more effort in training our male child, you see that the crime rate that we are experiencing today will go low.
Women should not abandon their primary responsibility of taking care of the home.
Those miscreants causing confusion in the state were born by women. When you do not train your child very well, this is what the kind of thing you will say.
To train both children, both girl and boy, you have to train them well, to give them education, to get respect to elders, train both boys and girls.
5 persons have lost their lives while over 50 others sustained injuries in a road accident in the Jos North local government area of Plateau State. The crash, involving about 15 vehicles, occurred around Zakalio by Jos Bauchi Road. It was gathered that a truck whose brake failed crashed into multiple cars close to a security checkpoint. The Public Enlightenment Officer of the Federal Road Safety Corps in the state, Peter Longsan, who confirmed the incident, said the injured victims had been taken to the hospital. He advised vehicle operators to properly maintain their vehicles, avoid overspeeding, and ensure the installation of speed limiting device. Makurdi residents have called on the media to step up awareness creation against human rights violation in Benue State. This is due to the rising cases of abuses in the state, especially as political activities heightened ahead of the 2023 general elections. Jimmy Adzanje reports.
Human rights protection in Nigeria is enshrined in documents like the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, African Charter on Human and People's Rights, which Nigeria is a signatory to, as well as the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Despite the existence of these legal documents, the media has a big role to play in making sure that Nigerians are aware of these rights, as explained by this communication expert.
The media may serve as a bridge between the community and the security actors in monitoring and enforcing and in reporting these cases, so that as much as possible we can hold people accountable or responsible for what they have been mandated to do by law, which is protecting and enforcing human rights.
As torchbearers of the society, many believe that practicing journalists have a lot to do in the protection of rights of human beings through effective reporting of violations as many are suffering one form of abuse or another due to lack of media coverage.
Journalists have, a broad role to play when it comes to human rights abuses, human rights protections in the country. We are advocates for even the less privileged and some victims of human rights abuses. Through media, you should be able to project their situations or tell their story better to draw government's attention to their plight. Because you see, some of these persons are people that cannot even speak for themselves.
Human rights sensitive reporting, so that also they do not violate the rights of persons that are also assumed to be perpetrators when otherwise have not been declared guilty by any court of law, and just so they are sensitive to all of these issues.
For some residents, cases of abuse are on the rise because most citizens do not know their rights, as well as those of others as they go about their daily interactions. This is why they feel the media can help inform and educate Nigerians.
Secured, we are vulnerable. We are faced with threats, attacks, which may be both emotional and physical attacks. Sometimes you receive threat calls, sometimes people come. For some of us who are even on social media, it is common to find people coming to your thread, saying all sorts of things, giving you names.
According to the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, all humans, irrespective of ethnicity, gender, race, religion, and other creeds, have inalienable rights. These include right to life, right to freedom of thought, conscience and religion, right to freedom of expression and the press, right to private and family life, and many more.
You're watching News Update on Trust TV. Coming up, you'll see how pregnant lawyer was killed in Lagos. Details on this and more after the break. Stay with us.
The Nigerian Story.
Daily Trust presents 20th Daily Trust Dialogue. Theme: Interrogating the 2023 Presidential Agenda. Panelists:
Mrs. Ibukun Awoshika, former Chairman, First Bank of Nigeria.
Professor Jibrin Ibrahim, Professor of Political Science and member of the Board of the Center for Democracy and Development, CDD. Dr. Yetunde Anibaba, Lecturer, Analysis of Business Problems, Lagos Business School. Dr. Eugene Enahoro, Human Capacity Development Specialist and CEO, Heltoni Services Limited.
Chairman of the event, John Cardinal Onaikon, Archbishop Emeritus of Abuja.
Date: Thursday, 25th January 2023. Time: 10 a.m. Venue: NAF Conference Center and Suites, Gwarimpa Expressway, near Next Shopping Mall, Kado, Abuja. For sponsorship and branding participation, contact 081 00 49 1948, 081 65 32 0660, or 080 33 92 8902. The event will be broadcast live on Trust TV.
Welcome back. If you're just joining us, this is News Update on Trust TV. And here is a recap of our top stories. National Rescuer Movement approaches a federal high court seeking disqualification of Peter Obi over case of dual citizenship. And 4 persons abducted by bandits in Katsina resecured. Now moving on to more stories. Osun State High Court on Monday sentenced 6 persons to death by hanging for murder and armed robbery. The convicts are Hamid Rafiu, Rashidi Waidi, Kayode Sunday, Owolabi Bashiru, Mutiu Aziz, and Afolabi Mayowa. Prosecution counsel from the State's Ministry of Justice, Dele Akintayo, said the offenses committed by the convicts were contrary to the punishable under the law. He said on Sunday, Owolabi, Rafiu, and Rashidi robbed and murdered one Victor Akinbile in Ikirun on the 26th of November 2018. Now, Justice Jide Falola convicted and sentenced the 6 persons to death by hanging. Moving on to security, an assistant superintendent of police, Drambi Vandi, alleged to have shot and killed Lagos-based lawyer on Christmas Day in Lagos. He has been arraigned before a Lagos High Court sitting in Tafawa Balewa Square. The reports.
Following the no guilty plea, the State Attorney General, Mr. Moyoshori Onibanjo, SAN, leader of the prosecution team, told the court that the state is ready to begin trial. The defense counsel, Adetukumbo, did not oppose the application. He, however, prayed the court for accelerated hearing.
His plea was taken, he pleaded not guilty, and the state opened his case. We called our first witness, and the cross-examination started. This is in demonstration of the state's resolve that within all our powers, no crime will go unpunished, and that we will bring the full weight of the law to bear on anybody, particularly those who take the lives of our citizens in an unlawful manner.
The prosecution witness, a police inspector, Matthew Ame, was then called to stand to testify. He narrated to the court that his team were conducting a stop-and-search operation and they tried to stop the deceased car, which was an unregistered vehicle, but the driver didn't stop, and the defendant fired at the car. He further said there was no threat before and during the incident.
We are here to demonstrate our commitment to pursue this matter to its logical conclusion, and that's what we will do, not only for Bonale, who happens to be our colleague, but anyone who suffers as a result of the excesses of law enforcement agencies. Is a responsibility of the Nigerian Bar Association to look after every Nigerian. And that's the commitment that we're giving. That is why we're here. We'll continue to do that. Never again would matters like this be swept under the carpet. Under our watch, we will not let it happen.
Oh, sure, certainly. We would. A lot of mystery will be unraveled. You know, the PPRO has said it. There is a nice gentleman that may be in quote spiritual effect, but would show that it's not the spiritual. Let's get to the bridge.
Justice Harrison granted an order of accelerated hearing and adjourned the trial to January 25th and 26th of this year.
Stakeholders in the electoral process believe the recent cashless policy announced by the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, will have little or no effect on the ongoing campaign spendings across the country. Now, some party chieftains told Trust TV's Shafiu Suleiman that they have since adjusted to the new electioneering environment in line with their peculiar campaign philosophy and strategy. The reports.
Nigeria's Apex Bank has recently rolled out an ambitious cashless policy which limits the amount of daily cash to 500,000 naira for individual and 5 million naira for a corporate body. This policy also coincided with the rollout of a redesigned naira notes by the central bank, which raises concerns over the impact such will likely have on the electioneering period.
We are campaigning, we are not buying crowd. The kind of crowd that we attract are people that even when we get there, they bring their own water. Sometimes they even give us from their own.
Essentially, campaigns and elections goes beyond the election days. So much happen before leading to the day of elections. There are a lot of logistics in terms of travel, in terms of hotel accommodation, in terms of feeding, in terms of engaging, meeting halls and all of that.
Stakeholders say, though the cashless policy will limit the amount of cash used to mobilize party officials on the day of election, it may not affect payments of logistics needed to organize campaign rallies and other spendings that could be done electronically.
It can be cashless. Right now I'm attending a meeting in a hotel. That payment can be done to the hotel through electronic process. So as far as I'm concerned, of course this will be our first experience, so there's a lot of apprehension as to the availability of resources on the day of election. But by and large, so far, like I have said, chunk of these resources are spent days before elections, months or weeks before elections.
We just enter normal contracts. We hire a bus. We buy plane tickets. We sleep in hotels. We hire canopies. We hire chairs. Maybe sound systems, public address systems, and things like that. All these are formal engagements, things that you can enter into formally and pay online.
As Nigerians go to the poll a few weeks from now, the new CBN cashless policy, which comes on the heels of reforms in the electoral process occasioned by the introduction of bimodal voter accreditation (VBAS) and INEC result viewing portal (IREP), there is significant hope amongst Nigerians of credible and transparent electoral process. Shafir Suleiman, Trust TV News, Abuja.
And in the foreign scene, a prominent dissident in Equatorial Guinea has died in prison while serving a 60-year jail sentence. Julio Obama Mefuman, 51, who was also a Spanish citizen and was taken from South Sudan in a suspected kidnapping in 2019, died in Oveng Azem prison in the western city of Mongomo. And with that, we've come to the end of Trust News Updates. Do not forget to follow us across all our social media platforms. I am Sumaya Abubakar. Thanks for watching.